Welcome back, everybody. My name is Taylor Martin. This is the best Damn EDC, and last year, maybe 7 or 8 months ago, I did a video testing out unusual EDC gear. That video originally came to be because Amazon kept recommending some really weird products to me. I bought a few of them thinking I was maybe just going to return them, and just kind of turned into a video, and it was a lot of fun. So I spent the last several months looking for more unusual EDC gear. That's what we're doing today. We're checking out some weird stuff. A lot of this stuff, just to preface, is maybe a little more on the survival side of things or hiking outdoors, but it's still stuff that you could carry with you every day, even if it's in a bag or you keep it in your car, something like that. Maybe a bug out bag. Doesn't matter. We're here to check out some really interesting or weird, unusual stuff. And this time, while there are some gimmicky things here, I think a lot of it is less gimmicky than the last one. That was the problem with the last video. Everything was like gimmicky or like ways to hide your weed. So this time it's less of that and more practical stuff, I think. Maybe. We'll find out. Let's do the damn thing. So let's start with these. These are two separate products that I'm going to count as two separate products, but they are in the same vein from the same company. They come from Wazoo survival gear, and they are necklaces, if you couldn't tell. Little leather cord, but one of them is a fire starter and the other one is a knife sharpener, which is very cool. But we're going to start with a fire starter. So this one is, I think, the more simple of the two, not in construction, but just in theory. It is a ceramic striker and a ferro rod. That's literally all there is to it, little leather cord. And if you want to start a fire, you get your tinder bundle and you just strike and start a fire like that, like I almost did on my table. Look at that smoke ring. You see that? That was really cool. That was like the perfect smoke ring. This is the Wazoo Survival Gear Bushcraft Fire Starter. It is to be worn as a necklace and pretty inconspicuous. I mean, I wouldn't know what it was if I didn't know already what it is, if I saw somebody wearing it, but you can also just kind of tuck it into your shirt, and other than seeing some leather sticking out, you're not ever really gonna see this. It's not something I would wear every single day, but love the concept of this. I saw these at Blade Show 2019 for the first time, and I always thought they were really cool, and I've seen them in some people's EDCs that they've submitted to the show. I think it's a really cool necklace. I would obviously probably tighten it up a little bit because it's got these, I can't remember what the knot's called. They can slip and you can tighten it up quite a bit. But yeah, I think this is a really cool product. Not something I'm gonna wear every single day. Honestly, I wouldn't really feel too ashamed about wearing it. I can get it over my big head. I think everybody going out into the woods should have something like this. Even if it's not in this configuration on a necklace, you should always have something like a ferro rod and a striker or some means of starting a fire in an emergency situation. So if I'm camping, this is going on my neck, period. Hiking, anything outdoors, I'm gonna have this on my neck. I think it's a really great product. 24 bucks, it's really affordable. Really cool thing. The Viking Whetstone pendant is a little bit of a different beast. I would say it's a little more of a technical product because you've got to know how to use it way more than you do a ferro rod. And there is a lot more to know about this thing. This one is also, I think, a little more historic, maybe not like 100% accurate, but it's at least based on artifacts that were found in Viking burial grounds, I believe. There was information about it on the card. I don't remember exactly what it said now. But you've got different surfaces that are used for different things. For starters, this is Arkansas Novaculite. I think that's how it's pronounced. But it's a 600 to 800 grit stone, and that's a pretty good working range. If you've got a very dull edge, this is going to take a while to sharpen that, but you can really get a very fine edge on something with it. But you do have several different surfaces here that you can use for different things. So you've got a rounded edge. This is for spoon hook knives or gouges, seatbelt cutters, fingernail cutters, any concave blades. You have this hook groove. This is for needles, awls, spear points, jigs, and fishing hooks. This beveled edge right here is for saws or serrated edges. And then you've got a little flat spot here and on the back, and that is for your flat lap, I guess, for general sharpening of standard knives, axes, hatchets, whatever you need to sharpen on this, you'd use on this side. So it is a whetstone, so you can use water or oil. Wet doesn't mean wet, wet means to hone. And I think that's about it for the stone itself. And then you've got this cool little knot, just to point out, they mentioned the knot. This is a Napoleon claw knot. But you've got the same configuration with the leather cordage and an adjustable necklace. And once again, this is the Viking whetstone pendant, and this will set you back about $34. The next item is, I think, the cheapest or most affordable thing on the list, and a very, very great execution of a simple idea. This is a thumb screwdriver that can go on your keychain. It's called the EDC-Key from CountyComm, and really all it is this little plastic piece with a 1/4 inch hex slot in the middle, and it can go on this bit extender. So you can buy this as a kit with this double bit or double-sided bit, but you can also just buy these individually, and I think it's a 2-pack, if I'm not mistaken, for 95 cents. It's just a little piece of plastic that goes on this. It allows you to put a bit extender on a keychain, and it doesn't just work with this one that comes with the kit. You can put it on any. I mean, it's just a hex driver, basically, that you can put even just bits in. You can put a long bit in there and just a bit. So you can really work with this thing however you want. This is just a standard DeWalt bit extender. But this one here, this configuration that you get from CountyComm, it's out of stock currently. I think it's about $9, but this little double-sided bit is really cool. Very, very small. You get a Phillips and a flathead, and it doesn't work in every bit driver, just to be clear. Like this DeWalt one, this does not work in there because this is so shallow. The magnet is actually out past, it makes this thing stick past the hex part. So this doesn't work with everything, but in this configuration, this is a really great way to have a screwdriver on your keychain, and you get a lot of torque on this, more so than just, you know, a lot of little pocket screwdrivers. I think this thing's great, and for $9, it's hard to argue with it. Very cool concept, really great execution. So next up is a product from EXOTAC. They're known for making survival gear like fire starters and stuff. They also have a little fishing rod, like hand reel, called the X Reel. And then this is the ripSPOOL. This is their field repair kit. So you've got thread down here on the bottom, really heavy duty thread that is spooled around with a little stop there so you can tie off so it doesn't unspool, which took me several minutes to just figure out. You can also unscrew this, which reveals a number 16 sail needle, very heavy duty needle. So you can repair stuff in the field. And then this part right here is duct tape. So you have a spool of duct tape, but this duct tape is actually flammable and can be used as a fire starter. So lots of stuff that can be done with this beyond just sewing and taping stuff up. You can start a fire with this duct tape. This can also be used, according to the website, as a emergency fishing setup. Put like a bobber and some shot on here and a hook, throw it out, and you can use this as a little bit of a handrail, which is just kind of cool. But then there's one last hidden feature, another fire starting feature. This right here is basically this, which is tinderZIP, emergency tinder zipper pull. So these are standard looking zipper pulls that you can put on a backpack or a jacket. Just one of these out of here. I'll show you how it works. So on the outside, it just looks like a normal zipper pull. So basically, just cut a little bit, and you notice the core, and this looks a little different from paracord. It's not the same, and that's because this is a little fire starter. Spread these fibers out. See if we can throw a spark with our fire starter from earlier. Boom, look at that. It works. Works really well, actually. And there's quite a bit of that in here as well. So it doesn't work very long, but you could pull the rest of this cord out, and that whole thing, does it say how long it works? Nope, it doesn't say how long this works. So we'll just go ahead and cut the rest of this out of here. So quite a bit of cord there that you can use. I would imagine probably about 30 seconds to a minute. Very, very cool. I've not seen anything like that before. When I did see these, I wanted to check them out. So both of these products, the ripSPOOL and the tinderZIP, are from EXOTAC. The tinderZIP, you get a 5-pack for $9, so pretty affordable and super, super handy. If you ever find yourself in an emergency situation, start fire with a zipper pull, really handy. And then the ripSPOOL is $30. So filled survival kit for 30 bucks that you could easily throw down in a backpack or throw that on your keychain. It's kind of big, but you could certainly do that, and you get your fire starter in both the cord and the duct tape. Pretty cool little setup. So the next product is called the Microblade Pill Ti. This was originally a Kickstarter campaign or Indiegogo product that was successfully funded. Obviously, I've got one in my hands now. I've got 3 of them here. They're about $21 a piece, and it is a titanium package opener. We're not going to really call it a blade. The company name is Microblade. This is the Pill Ti. And under this cover, you have really more of a wedge or a chisel than a blade, but it's sharpened and it's a little pointy on the very end there. All these are the same. You get an all titanium blade, and it's basically just for opening packages, right? So you're gonna have this on your keychain, and you're gonna just take it across the tape. That's really all it's for. Works pretty well. I wouldn't say I'd use it over a knife or a box cutter. It's about like a key, honestly, a slightly sharpened key, but it does work. Better than nothing. I think this is going to be most useful for someone who can't carry a knife every day for legal reasons, or if you just want something very inconspicuous that makes it a little easier to get into your Amazon packages. Other than that, I think this thing is probably a little gimmicky or chintzy. It's not exactly super sharp. As you can see, that is a very, very big wedge. I mean, that's like a 45-degree angle. So that is not super sharp, but it will at least tear some tape and get into a box easier than probably a key. But pretty cool little concept, but I don't know that I'd even use the carabiner that it comes on. I don't think I would use this little retainer that it has because it looks kind of funky. Almost like an earplug or something. For 21 bucks, maybe a little overpriced for what it is. I could see one being a little more feasible in like stainless steel. Titanium is just, I think, for, in this case, just for marketing more than anything, because steel would be cheaper and tougher. I wouldn't mind throwing it on my keys. Where are my keys? Right here? Yeah, having this thing on my keys, I'm not mad about that. It's like barely even there. 21 bucks, not so bad. I'm okay with it. I'll let it slide. I almost forgot to show you how this works. Basically pull the cap off and just pop it on this little thing. Kind of have to twist it a little bit to get it all the way on there. It's weird, but it at least holds the cap while you're using it. I don't think I'd keep it, but there you go. That is the Microblade Pill Ti. Next up, we have a pair of carabiners, and they're basically the same thing, just different materials. This is the GPCA Carabiner Pro Multi-Tool, and of all the things I have here with me today, I think this is probably the most gimmicky. It's a carabiner with a bunch of tools in it. It's kind of cool in a way, but very gimmicky for sure. So you've got a titanium blade right here along the backside that is a liner lock, and it's not very sharp. This is mainly just for opening packages like the last item. And that liner lock is so tight. It's really hard to get this thing closed. I think this one's a little easier. Way easier, way easier. So this is the stainless steel version. This one is the titanium version. Up here at the top, you've got a flathead and a Phillips head screwdriver. Should note that on this titanium one, for whatever reason, I have this thing fully tightened down and these like flop around. But on the stainless version, these tools are much, much tighter in there, which is odd because the blade on this one is super tight and on this one is not. So QC on this is, you've got a little pry or bottle opener here at the bottom of the carabiner. You have a locking gate. This bottom screw, I don't even know why they put it in there. That's a different size than the other one. Okay, let's go back to T8. Some of these screws are T8 and some of them are T6. This comes out, but this you can put a split ring on and have your keys outside the gate. All right, and just for the record, this little red locking thumb screw here is an upgrade. It comes with a standard stainless steel one. I opted for the red one because I thought it might add a little flair to it. The titanium one obviously makes it a little lighter weight, but there's a hidden feature, if we're gonna call it that. There's a hidden feature on this thing just to add to the gimmick. If you open the gate and then unscrew the lock, you might notice there's a little itty bitty thing here. That's actually a piece of paper. Use a little bit to push it out. This is the hidden compartment. I don't know what the hell you're gonna hide in this, but they have a little piece of paper that says, "Adventure never ends, mark yours, GPCA." Who has anything this small. I don't own anything that would fit in there. I think it's just like totally a gimmick feature that they added because they wanted another function. This whole thing I think could be kind of cool without half of the features. The carabiner itself, titanium, big, nice. The box opener, just give me kind of a sharpened corner. The bottle opener, good, very minimal. It doesn't really look like a bottle opener and it functions well. The screwdrivers, kind of useless if I'm completely honest. So I would be really happy with this carabiner if it didn't have the knife, didn't have the tools, and that was it. Oh, and they also market it as Nux. A Swiss Army knife is gonna have all three of these things. Clip it to your carabiner and it's more useful than this. That's my 2 cents. There's also an aluminum version. The aluminum version is $40-ish, I think. The titanium one is $100. Steel is somewhere in the middle there. So $40 to $100 for this carabiner. The next item is kind of a similar concept, different product altogether, but a similar concept. Let me explain. This is the MecArmy X7S EDC Kit, and it ships in multiple parts. I don't remember how it shipped exactly, but this is one of the configurations that you can make with this kit. So this, on the bottom end, is just a little stash container. You can put your pills or, you know, allergy meds or tinder if you want, whatever in there. This side is a little peanut lighter, and I don't have any lighter fluid in it, apparently. Well, dang. This one, I believe, is 2 separate stash containers. So there's one side, that is a stash container. And then this one is also a stash container. Those are very limited in functionality. And then this side is a little flashlight with one of those, what is it? It's one of these tiny, tiny little batteries. I don't have any markings on this one, so I don't remember the actual numbers anymore, but very, very small batteries that a lot of these interchangeable battery keychain lights have. But you've got 2 brightnesses. This is very much like the Olight i1R EOS, but here's the cool part. So this whole configuration is $100 for all 3 of these things. It's made out of titanium, and here is the really cool part. You can take this cap off the flashlight and you can stick these 2 together, and you have a lighter on one end and a flashlight on the other. Pretty cool, huh? Or you can take this end off and have no lighter, and you can add this end to it, and you can have a flashlight with no clip, but you can attach it to your keychain and have a stash container. Pretty cool. So you can kind of configure this whole setup how you want. They all work together. And I think there's also a way to attach the lighter. So you can have a lighter, stash container, and a flashlight with a pocket clip, and it's about the size of a pen light. I think you could even store a spare battery. Throw a spare battery down in there, you've got a light, a spare battery, and a lighter. And then you've got 2 more individual stash containers that you could put on a keychain. So there's a lot going on here, and I think this will fit right up in there too. So you could have another spare battery on you if you really wanted to. Yeah, the whole point is that this is a modular system that you can configure really about however you want. I think this is really cool. And for $100, you're getting a lot of functionality. A little titanium light like this usually runs about 30, 40, 50 bucks. Little peanut lighter, probably about $20, $30. And then you got a bunch of stash containers. So I think this is a really cool little setup, and you can do a whole lot with it. And just to go back to the battery, it is a 10180. A really weird battery size, but very common in these little itty bitty lights. So there you have it. This is the MecArmy X7S EDC Kit. I think it's really cool. And once again, this is a $100 setup, which is kind of pricey, but you're getting a whole lot out of that $100. So next up we have the TEC Accessories Ti-Tape, and as the name suggests, this is a titanium tape measure. It goes out to 3 feet. This tape is replaceable, and it is a very, very, very compact tape measure, and it comes in a few different colors. I obviously just have the stonewashed, but it also comes with the ability to add a little ring. It slides on right there. It's flush with this side. Put the top back on. And this is the same way that you would replace the tape if it ever breaks on you. This is a little bulky for something I would put on my keys. I like to keep my keys very, very compact, but throwing this down in a little pouch or in a backpack or something like that, super handy, especially as I get more in the shop. And I wouldn't put it on my keys, but you could put a little lanyard on here to make it a little easier to hold on to probably. But like I said, tape's replaceable. And one more time, this is the TEC Accessories Ti-Tape. It'll set you back anywhere from $45 to $63. It's made out of grade 5 titanium, and it comes in 4 different finishes. This is the stonewash. It also comes in a bead blasted finish, a splash ano, and a blue raspberry ano. So the next product is actually one that I've covered on the channel before. I went to Lever Gear headquarters back when this was a new product, and I know that I've talked about it, but I feel like it should probably be brought up again, and it is a bit of an unusual item. So this is the Lever Gear BitVault, and at first glance, you'd probably think maybe a flashlight, and what's odd is they did originally have a flashlight configuration. I don't think they ever came out with it, due to a number of reasons, but this one is just a storage container. The other one also had internal storage, but it was mostly battery, I believe, and then instead of a bit driver on the front, it was a flashlight. But this one is a hex driver. You have a wrench, hex wrench, as well as the driver, and there's a little spring gate on the back with a removable pocket clip. But the cool part, the unusual and cool part of this is the drawer system. So there are 2 little latches, you push those in and you pull the drawer out. And I have these both set up totally differently. So we have kind of like an urban survival setup here we've got some fingernail clippers, tweezers, some allergy meds. I know I keep talking about allergy meds. Allergies are bad this year, okay? A little micro SD card and some toothpicks. There's some heavy duty needles down in there and a sim tool in this one. So this would be like the urban survival-ish kit, and then this one is more of a toolkit with a fire starter. So this is a MecArmy flint striker. You've got some needles as well as the sim tool. I put some extra flints in here just because, and then there's some cotton and then bits. So the bits, let me show you really quickly. Just take one of those out. And they go in the end here. There's a little magnetic retention so the bit doesn't come out, and then it also can go in this way and be used as a wrench. So that is the BitVault. Very, very simple. If you want to see more about it, go check out the video I did with Lever Gear on this. I think it's a really cool item, and at 50 bucks, it is a little bit expensive for what it is, but it's super, super handy. I mean, this right here, this setup, that's a lot of really useful stuff. Very small, compact, but still useful stuff in one. And this clips right inside your pocket or to your keys. Also, I didn't mention it, but right there, if you look closely, there's like a little divider. It does originally come with like dividers that you can configure different ways. I lost all mine because I've had these for probably about 2+ years now and had them set up various different ways, but there you go. That is the Lever Gear BitVault. Next up, we have something that's pretty simple. I'm not gonna dwell on it too long, but this is called the SwissQlip. And what it is a pocket clip that you can add to any 91mm Swiss Army knife. I believe this is a Tinker, but basically you just take off the split ring that comes standard on pretty much every Swiss Army knife, and then this just bolts onto it. There's a little Phillips head screw. You bolt it through the little lanyard hole, and you have yourself a pocket clip. I think it's kind of a gross way to add a pocket clip to a Swiss Army knife, but it's one of the only ways, and it's affordable. It's just $20 for the clip, which is kind of funny because it's more expensive than a lot of Swiss Army knife models, but it's a very sturdy clip. It's just kind of bulky, and it doesn't really get in the way of any of the tools or anything, but it's just kind of weird. But if you want to add an affordable pocket clip to an affordable Swiss Army knife, this is really one of the only options, unless you add one of those like pocket danglers to the lanyard loop. But there you go, that is called the SwissQlip, and these are just 20 bucks. Again, I think it's a little bulky, not exactly the prettiest thing to look at ever, but it adds a pocket clip to a Swiss Army knife. The last item on the list is probably gonna come across as one of the most gimmicky to a lot of you, but I've really been kind of interested in these since I went to Lever Gear. So Lever Gear had several of these. They used to sell other EDC gear. Maybe they still do, I don't know. But they had some vessel gear stuff in their store. And this one is the flask, but they've got several different types of vessels. They have camping gear, they have a first aid kit, survival kits, all those others. This one made the most sense to me. This one is a flask, but in the bottom has a flashlight. So not the best flashlight in the world, but you do have a few different modes, a red light and an SOS. And it's just in the bottom. I think it has just a standard like button cell battery. Oh no, that's got some weird batteries in there. Is that LR1? I've never had an LR1 battery in anything before. Well, anyway, it takes 3 LR1s. I don't know what that means in terms of run times or brightness. I really wouldn't be carrying this thing specifically for the flashlight. It's more of like an emergency light. Real business is on the other side. You have a little bottle opener. It's nothing too fancy. And then these two things. This is a shot glass. It's actually 2 of them. Which, you gotta be careful with these shot glasses, because if you sit them down too hard, they collapse on you. So, gotta be careful with those. But on the other end, well, you have an oil-filled compass. Ooh, and a horrible, horrible sound. You have, I believe, a 9 ounce. It says 10 ounces in some places. Some places say 9. Some of the reviews say it's actually just 8. I don't know. I didn't measure it, but you got a little whiskey flask. That's good. That's good. And the other thing to note about this flask is that it is, I think it's lined or infused with glass, so it's not metal. I think this is an aerospace grade aluminum for the whole chassis here, the bottle, but the inside is actually lined with glass. So, like any other glass flask, it won't affect the taste of the whiskey. So you don't have to finish the whiskey, you know, within a day or 2 or a week. You can leave the whiskey in here, which is really, really neat. There you go, you've got a compass on the top as well as a little flask, flashlight on the bottom, 2 collapsible shot glasses, and a bottle opener. Although, if you have a flask, why do you need a bottle opener? I will say this thing is kind of heavy. I'm not exactly sure how heavy this is with the whiskey in it, but it's definitely not something I would take backpacking. If I'm going backpacking, I'm probably just gonna take a bottle of whiskey, like a little pint or something. But this is not exactly cheap. That's probably the worst thing about the vessel. This is $100. Not cheap at all, but a pretty cool concept. I'm not sure about the execution. But there you have it. This is the vessel flask. That is the unique EDC gear. And if I had to choose a few things out of this that I think are really, really nice and less on the gimmicky side, it would be these 5 items right here. The TEC Accessories Ti-Tape. It's a little spendy, so is the BitVault and this. They're a little spendy, but they're not gimmicky so much as they are actually useful. The Viking Whetstone pendant, really, really cool. And so is the fire starter, the Bushcraft necklace from Wazoo. I think those 5 items are actually really, really handy. I wanna love the vessel, but there are definitely more practical items. Like you can get a compass and a flask and a better flashlight, all for less than $100. So having all this in one, it's a little gimmicky. So I'm not gonna shy away from that fact, but some of the other stuff here is still cool, but not as nice as these 5 items. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you did, hit that thumbs up button down below and subscribe to see more stuff like this in the future. Hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload new videos. And if you want to see another one of those, let me know in the comments down below, because it's a lot of fun. But I think finding more stuff for a 3rd video is going to be very tough. This one literally took me like 5 months to come up with. So let me know in the comments down below if you got gear recommendations for unusual stuff. Put that in the comments too. But if you want to support what I'm doing here, hit the links in the description down below that will help support through affiliates. You can also go to patreon.com/bestdamnedc if you want to support there, or carrycommission.com where you can buy gear and merch directly from me. You can find us around the web at most places at bestdamnedc. But with that said, and until next time, carry on.